Hey guys, this is Segef, Frontlinetactic. In the game in the background is Star Trek Online. I'm not necessarily what you would say is a huge Star Trek fan. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed over the years and grew up with the various iterations of the show and the movies. I've also sat and watched over these years how this franchise has helped shape the genre and introduce and make sci-fi mainstream. You can almost ask anyone on the street, they at least know what Star Trek is. The only other most notable sci-fi franchise that I would say that would be more popular, if not equal to Star Trek, would be Star Wars. Which we'll get into that maybe later on. But the impact of this franchise isn't what I wanted to discuss with you in this video today. What I wanted to share with you is STO, or Star Trek Online, and why I keep coming back to this MMO. To give you kind of an idea of how I got introduced to this, let me tell you a little story. I have two friends that were fanatical about Star Trek. Well, they still are, but that's besides the point. And they were both super excited about this game when it went to initially launch years ago. It was like a dream come true to them. One of them I worked with at the time, and he wanted me to play the game with him because, I mean, who wants to play an MMO by themselves? So he invited me over and allowed me to play his account for a while to see if I was willing to go in and play with him. And to my surprise, I absolutely fell in love with this game. The aspect that really drew me in was the space combat, like I'm showing you here. But I'll go into more depth and detail about that later. But outside of the different play style that is alien to the majority of MMOs that you'll see on the market or have seen on the market in the past, was the weapon outfitting, the crew skills, the strategy, and all the other options and angles that you could play this game, which is totally up my alley. Customization and diversity I love in a game, and I think that's what makes or breaks a good game at times. He actually bought the game for me initially at launch, or shortly after launch, after I expressed my interest in the game. And I've been periodically returning to blow up ships and fine-tune my Federation ship of total badassery, which I will share with you in a bit. And so in this video, what I want to do is basically share with you why I keep coming back to this MMO. What makes this MMO worth my time to play? It's a free-to-play. There's dozens of free-to-plays out there. And I'm going to share with you what makes this one special. Well guys, let's start about talking about the different things that I really like about this game. One of the things off the bat is space combat. I absolutely love space combat. I think it's the best part of the game. Just because the fight mechanics are so drastically different than traditional MMOs or traditional gameplay in general. It is very naval oriented in the fact that you have to think of your, I don't even know my naval terms, like starboard and stern and aft and fore and all those kind of basically very naval and terms. And so, to me, that's kind of fun, as well as you have to think of positioning of your guns and firing arcs. And so, it's a very, I'll show you the aspect of the firing arcs. So, it gives it a very interesting concept of, well, just gameplay. I mean, we're so used to being able to attack from above and behind and all those other aspects that this kind of combat is so different and raw and interesting to me. But outside of that, ground combat is very very similar. I think it's the weaker aspect of this game. Just the pure aspect that it's kind of the same kind of third-person shooter that we've all seen over the years. It's nothing too special, the ground combat. There are a lot of people that like the ground combat, and that's their thing. Awesome. Me personally, it's the space naval combat, to me, that really makes this game so interesting. So, let's branch off from that. Now, you're like, Segef, you said there's a ton of customization. Yes, there is. So we're still on the concept of ships. Well, that's my shuttle. That's that's a completely different thing as well. But let's look at this. Like, this is my ship loadout. I have my forward weapons, your deflector, which the deflector is almost its own meta game if you're heavy into science officers. So that's like its own aspect of the game as well to be thinking of. And then you have all your different consoles, which for the most part run very damage-oriented consoles that allow me to basically deal more damage. I play a glass cannon kind of ship. Like, even my science console is designed to give me more weapon power and crit chance and crit severity. That one kind of tries to give me more survivability. But the whole aspect of this is really just to just fly through the hulls of ships is what I've designed my ship around to be. And I've even designed a ship that is an aggro magnet, that it just flies around and shoots lasers in every direction. And so, you know, basically a beamboat is what they kind of call it. And so there's all sorts of different ways that you can make your ships or engineer your ships. And even though you engineer your ship a certain way, your crew is also what determines their ability to function within their stations and what options it creates from you. So within the station roles, you have here where I can swap out each individual, and each individual has their own set of skills and priorities. And with the new patch that's coming out, Delta Rising, they're going to increase the difference is in kind of a crew speciality and things like that. And they've been kind of vague on it. And I'm really excited because they're going to be adding a new seat on your ships, the new tier of ships that are coming out, basically to add more customization to your roster. That these are your special abilities. So even though I've chosen to be a tactical or, you know, red shirt officer, I can choose to pick up a science ship and play an aggressive support role or aggressive healing role, or you can be a blue shirt, a science officer, and play as strictly support and heals, or you can play as kind of a supporty offensive player. And so what role you are as a captain paired with what ship you end up getting, and as well as your crew loadout that you choose, it drastically changes your gameplay and the direction that you can go in. Divination has been playing with me for a little bit now, and he chose a red shirt with a science ship, and he plays an aggressive support role where he basically nerfs and debuffs and locks down the opponents for me to just basically blow holes through them. And so that's one of the interesting ways that you can play. So traits. Here's another aspect that you can do, is you can actually design your character to have, like I designed mine to be more space oriented, but again, that's just one aspect of the gameplay that I choose. While Divination, he prefers the ground play, and he's been gearing his character kind of 50-50 on ground and space. As well as here's your skill tree, which I assume when Delta Rising, the new expansion, comes out, it's also going to drastically change this as well. I wouldn't be too surprised if they add an extra tier, or just allow you to allocate more points. You have your reputations, so you can actually like go and get into like story-driven events to unlock more technology and more tasks, such as more like set weapon piece items and things like that. So the more pieces that you unlock, the more bonuses you get. It's kind of almost the equivalent of raiding and getting your raid tier set. Another thing that they did was they've overhauled the crafting, which is super fun in comparison of what it used to be. And when they did that, they overhauled the inventory system, so now this is all crafting materials. That doesn't take up your general inventory anymore. They gave you your own tab, as well as here's your resources. Now you have your assignments in your roster, so these are, you have a roster of upward of 100 crew members that you can micromanage to do tasks and things like that. Like, so current map, these are all tasks that you can tell them to go do, and they will go off and do it. And here's your success rates and your critical success rates to get, like right now this is a mission to go get more crafting materials, and I'm going to go tell them to go do that. So that's one of the ways that it's kind of one of those crafting systems that is not strictly run by the player, but also by a micromanaged system, kind of similar to Neverwinter Nights and Old Republic, where you can go and tell these NPCs or characters of yours under your command to go do a task, and then you can continue doing your missions and things like that unhindered. And then after the allotted time has gone up, that you basically get a bonus. So it says the next mission will be completed in 44 minutes. So again, you can choose to completely ignore this aspect of the game. And one of my characters, I actually leveled up about 75%. From level 10 to level 50, about 75% of the XP that he gained in between those levels was from the crew tasks. The crew got him XP. I would just log him on once or twice a day, tell my crew to go do these tasks, and they brought me back XP and goods and resources so that I can, progress. So it caters to those that don't have a lot of time on their hands to be able to still do missions or still level up a character to maybe occasionally play with their friends. So leveling up in this game is super easy. Now those that are huge into, say, the story arc, I mean, these like sagas here are almost like seasons from the show. They really make you feel like you're almost playing your own series of Star Trek. A good portion of it's voice acted, really decent quality, cutscenes, the works. And each one has a central focus on alien threats and various story arcs that even cut into all the different series of Star Trek throughout the ages, from the original to Voyager, as well as they make reference to some of the movies. Now with the recent updates with the Solanae Dyson Sphere saga, as well as the new Delta Rising expansion that's about to come out, it's very Voyager focused and the events that have happened at the end of Voyager. So if you're really into the shows, this is a great way to get into it, and from my understanding it's fairly canon. And kind of continue the story, because it doesn't look like there's going to be a new Star Trek series for a long time, if at all, even though they're doing the new movie franchise, which some people, hey, take it or leave it. Some people don't like it. That's your choice. But with the constant free upgrades, updates, and things like that, and the new things that they're doing just to tweak the games to make it more fun, they've already overhauled the reputation system and the crafting system and a couple other things that every once in a while, as well as they do give out, they bring back these episodes, or they update new episodes. When I originally played, it was only the Klingon War, I want to say up to the Romulan? I want to say, yeah, when I originally played it was only up to yeah, these three, and then I took a break, and then these two came out, and then this one came out, and then I took a long break again, and then this one came out. And so, even if you just want to like stop and go, for free to play, this one's great because it continues to come out with challenging and interesting content. So you can't really argue that, and that's more to say that right there, that is more than most can say about free to play MMOs. And so that is why I continue to come back to STO. Is it's fun, interesting, and it changes if you give it enough time. Well, anything changes over enough time, but these people actually listen to the community and are a part of the community to continue to try to make it great. Well, guys, that's the last of my rant. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Please post in the bottom with any comments, suggestions, or worries. Please check out Delta Rising. It's coming out in the next couple of days. And, yeah. Stay safe while you're flying through the front line. Night, guys.